eat savory stew? Of all meals today, I think that's quite an accomplishment that he's going to portray for that, okay? So, without further ado, we have Dr. Geiter joining us, and I'm anxious to hear his presentation.
I'm not going to stand behind this podium. Can everyone hear me? All right, so good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon. Congratulations. All of you. 95% of everyone that goes to prison actually gets out. So you're part of that 95%. So congratulations. I know what you're feeling like because I've sit in that seat you're sitting in 6 times. So I know, yeah, 6 times. So I know exactly where you're coming from. So I tell people all the time that this next 6 months, for those of you who are going to be released, you are at your most vulnerable, right? So when you came in, you probably wasn't the best person that you could be, right? Some of you had drug problems, some of you had domestic problems, some of you had problems with your family. So now you've been in prison for a little bit, it's time to go home, and you're full of all this joy, and you're about your freedom, you go get some Popeyes, and you can go get some, you know, you can just stretch it out, right? But everyone that you remember when you came, they remember who you were when you came. They have no idea who you are today. All right, so if there's any advice that I would offer anyone being released now is to reach out to your families, reach out to your friends. You know, the best gift that God gives us is forgiveness. You know, we forgot all the times we stole from my brother and my sister, and we did this and we did this. We forgot, right? They remember. So as you're coming home, remember that the first thing you want to do is mend the bridges. Okay? So I was last released in 1999. I paroled from Illinois River Correctional Center. I've been locked up about 6 previous times, and every single time I was a paper guy. You know, back before computers, you could kind of trick banks out of money and credit unions, and it would take them forever to catch up with you. And I'd already had the money and I'd be gone. So that's what I used to do. So I was in and out, no violence, no drugs, no sex. You know, I was smart enough to get in and too dumb to realize that I should stop. So I offended and I offended and I offended. And statistically, one of 2 things happens. You either go out of it, you mature, and you stop coming back. Or you end up with that long bit, so now you're in your 30s and you got 20 to do, and you're wishing that you had some other choices. That's generally how it happens. So for all of you that are being released, there's never a good time to be released. And today's society isn't a good time to be released in. I returned to higher education kind of as a way to just get a job in 2008. So I just moved to Chicago. I had been out since, I've been out for about 7, 8 years, so it wasn't like I was fresh to the streets. I'd been out, I was doing okay. So I moved to Chicago. I'm from Central Illinois. And I moved to Chicago, they background checked every darn thing. I couldn't get a job at McDonald's. Literally could not get a job at McDonald's. So I have this wife, she's from Chicago. We go to rent an apartment, and I paid this little $35 fee, and I got good credit, so I'm not worried about that. Please, these people say, dude, you can't live here, you got a felony. 80% of the housing in Chicago, you can't live here. All right, so we know it's going to be damn near impossible for you to get a job, and we know that it's going to be damn near impossible for you to find a place to live. Now, the good news is if you work really, really, really hard, and you sacrifice, and you really don't want to come back, there really is a way out. All right, so I'm proof of that, and I got 4 other individuals that I was locked up with in the 90s that are living very good lives also. It didn't happen overnight. We all made sacrifices, but it is possible. I can tell you. I can look you in the eye and I can tell you it's possible because I've done it. So in 2008, I come to Chicago. I had no place to really live. We kind of, you know, my wife said she was married, and I stayed in the apartment and didn't have my mail sent there. We got over on that for a little while, long enough for us to get a place. But I couldn't get a job. Someone said, go to school. They'll pay you to go to school. I'm like, man, sign me up. So I went to the local community college, signed up for a class, actually got an A. I'm like, damn, I can do this. So the next semester, I took a full semester load. They actually gave me $5,700 in Pell money. That's free money. They let me borrow another $7,000. And then they gave me a job 20 hours a week. I'm like, damn, this is good. She wasn't wrong. You know, I'm here. You know, I'm just going to take these classes and write it up. The next thing you know, I'm getting A's and B's and C's, and I'm doing okay. So I get my associate's degree in 2009. So I'm like, okay, I want to be a teacher. So I go to St. Xavier University of Chicago. I get my bachelor's degree in another 2 years. So I'm about ready to graduate. In that time, I've really learned a lot. I mean, I was evicted, my power was cut off, my car was repossessed, you know, all the stuff that happens to poor people. Every time something happened, rather than go and make some money appear, I said, okay, let's ride this out. Right? Every time I walk up to that line. I'll never forget 2 months from graduating, my power's already off. I'm actually walking from 127th and Pulaski to 103rd and Pulaski. Every day, that's where my school is at, that's where I live from Chicago, you know, that's a little track, right? I'm hustling, I'm going to school. So I go to one of my mentors, her name is Sister Sue Sanders, a nun, sweet as can be. I'm like, Sister Sue, you know, everything is just tough, you know, this, they got this, my power's off, they want a security deposit, my landlord's mad because my power's off and the hallway lights aren't on. I need to quit school, I can get a job, you know, I'm gonna do this. I had it all planned. I had my associate's degree, I'm just a year away from my bachelor's. I'm gonna quit. She says, Daniel, if you quit, you'll never come back. She was right. If I had quit, I probably would have never come. She said, so I tell you what, I'm gonna help you out. So I come back to her about 3 hours later. She had found a donor that was willing to pay my rent for 6 months. They called, come in while I sit there. It was so embarrassing, gave my little account number, said, service has been disconnected. And you need $600 fee to return it, and you need a $400 security deposit. They gave me the credit card number, they paid. They called my landlord, they paid my rent for 6 months. I said, so how much of this will I have to pay back? She said, I tell you what, one day it's going to be incumbent upon you to help someone, and you will help them, and you'll do it in the name of the Sisters of Mercy. And that's a real story. $10,000 just appears overnight. Not because I was smart, not because I was more intelligent than the next guy, but because I showed up and I persevered. And what I'm telling you is that it does not matter what you choose to do when you leave. If you don't show up, you don't dedicate yourself to it, you don't take the shots, because you're going to take some shots, you're going to get all kind of unfair stuff. To this day, I'm Dr. Daniel Geiter. I had a meeting with the mayor of Chicago last week. I had a meeting with the sheriff. I talked to Governor Rounder, but I can't get a job in McDonald's because I can't pass the background check. I can't rent a private apartment on the south side of Chicago because I can't pass the background check. So I'm not telling you that my life is rosy. It's better now because I'm Dr. Daniel Geiter, and now, you know, I'm the narrative, and, you know, all those guys can do that. Why are they being lazy? You know, you hear that now, and while I'm sitting there listening to that, I'm saying, yeah, right, okay? I got lucky. But all of you can get lucky because luck is your dedication to whatever you want to achieve. So it doesn't matter what you want to achieve, you actually have an opportunity to do it. Now the climate is actually changing. The state of Illinois spends about $1.7 billion on the Illinois Department of Corrections. $1.7 billion. That's not counting Cook County Jail and the other 100 county jails out there. The state is realizing we don't want to spend all this money to keep you locked up. All right? So now they're saying, okay, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. The climate is changing slowly. Governor Rounder, you say what you want to say about it? The Republicans don't like spending money on this. And he is going to solve this problem. The question is, what are you going to do about the chance and the opportunity you have when you leave? As I talk to some of you now, I had the mystery meat stew thing to today? Whew, Lord have mercy, that has not changed. All right? Matter of fact, I was telling the guys at lunch today, when I saw the menu, it would have been a 2-Snicker lunch day. You know, I would just stayed in and watched some Jerry Springer. All right? But I wanted to have that meal not because I wanted to save the stew, but because the two gentlemen that I sit at the table with Lori, were me. I looked at those guys and like, damn, I was young, and, you know, built, and, you know, had that little spring in my step at one time, and, you know, didn't care about, you know, catching a little bit because, you know, I'm grown, I'm a man, I can do my time, I'm gonna get back out and this, that, and the other. And then what happens, we learn that life continues to move every step we take. So I didn't come today to say all of you can be doctors. I didn't come today to say that all of you can achieve, you know, the dreams that you have. But I'm definitely here today to tell all of you that you have the opportunity to make the luck that you will have. It's up to you. Is it going to be hard? Yes. Are people going to get on your nerves? Yes. Are you going to be out of money and out of chances? And yes, 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 yes. Now that we know all that, what are you going to do about it? All right? When I started out in college, you couldn't have taught me into telling someone that I was a convicted felon. I didn't want nobody to know. I didn't want my teachers to know. I didn't want financial aid to know. I didn't want anyone to know. If you go on my LinkedIn page, does everyone know what LinkedIn is? Like Facebook, but for business. If you go on any of my social media pages now, it says, I was a convicted felon, because it's a great narrative now. All right, so I lead the conversation with that. I was able to open a college because I am a convicted felon. I was able to meet the mayor, the governor, and all of these different politicians because I'm a convicted felon. So what did I do? I took that #1 negative and I made it into a positive. Now, I didn't set out to do this, it just kind of happened because I was never a great student. I didn't think that I would even be a good teacher, but I knew I was going to be a teacher. And then once I got to that bachelor's degree, that same nun said, I know you're a nominal student, but I graduated from the University of Chicago, one of the top 3% schools in the United States. I'm going to get you in. I'm like, I got a B average. You cannot get me in the University of Chicago, right? Next thing you know, I'm at Morton Steakhouse having lunch with the dean of the University of Chicago. It's because she made that call. 5 minutes into the conversation, I'm nervous, and he's like, oh, don't worry, you're already in. Let's have this $100 steak. I'm like, I'm with you, bro. Better than savory stew, I guarantee you. All right? But what I'm saying is that I didn't seek that, but because I showed up and I persisted, all of these opportunities found me. I didn't have to look for them. In every class that I was in, I was one of them. That's what we used to call it, one of them. You know what that means? One of the only black students in the class. Definitely one of the only African-American male students in the class. I met with Black Lives Matter last week, and you know what they told me? I'm not black enough. Never been called not black enough. You're not hood. You don't understand the street. I'm like, dude, you do not know my narrative. You don't know my background. So street is just screaming something and not getting anything in return? It's ridiculous. But I come to tell you today that you can achieve whatever you want if you just stick with it. All right? The job is going to be there. Mom and dad are still going to be pissed off at you for whatever you did that deservingly you should receive. And the housing opportunities are going to be horrible, and you're going to have to make all kinds of sacrifices. But wouldn't you rather make a sacrifice and sleep in somebody's hallway or sleep in one of these cells in one of these next houses? I don't know if the walls still sweat, but when I was in Guyana, I swear to God, those walls sweating on hot days. Don't you get tired of smelling yourself? Right? You get tired of having mystery meat stew? Right? But the choice is yours. So I know the easy argument is these people, these people, these people. Okay, I'll give you that. Sometimes it is these people. But for the most part, it's you, especially coming back. Statistically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Y'all stand up. Y'all 5 right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You 5 stand up. All right. So these 10 guys represent 100 of you. All right. You two sit down. First two. So that's 800 of you. You're all coming back. 80% of you come back within 3 years. 80%. 8 out of every 10 of you will make job security for those individuals forever. And my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law both work at state field. They're correctional officers. They're too lazy to become sergeants or lieutenants or whatever. You know what? They make over $100,000 a year. And they hide during Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Mother's Day, and Father's Day. They hide from the prison because they're not going to go in and make that double time. They have a $300,000 house in Bolingbrook, and they're doing darn good living that middle-class lifestyle because you give them job security. You do. I do. The choice is yours. It will be hard. Some of you will be back. Some of you will be back another time after that. But eventually, one of two things is going to happen. You're going to get sick and tired of it, or you're going to catch a case where it's people coming back. You just hit it. All right? So, now that I've given you all that great news, how do you not come back, right? If you have a GED, you can get a job as soon as you hit the streets. Because a job is education. You come into my store, and I own a store, I'm not hiring you. I don't know you. And I have something called liability insurance. So why would I hire you, convicted felon, if I can hire Joe who's not? So it's just life. So rather than saying, oh, what I'm going to do, as soon as you hit these streets, you find a college of your choice and enroll in it. They will give you financial aid. If you're eligible for a job, you'll get a job. Stick your head into those books and get C's and D's. At least ride it out for a year, and then let your luck work for you. You don't have to get a college degree to be successful. You don't have to. I just hired someone to be a webmaster and an IT person, and I'm going to have to pay them suckers $80,000 a year. She didn't have a bachelor's degree. So where else in the world can you make $80,000 a year and not have a bachelor's degree just because you have the information? All right? So if you want a job, go to school. Find out what you really want to do. Get as much education as you can. Get an endorsement. Grab a lawnmower. Make your own job. If you work on cars, go to mechanic school. Do everything you can to be equipped to be successful. One of two things. If you can stay out for at least 12 months, statistically, 70% of you will not come back. You just need to keep your butt on the street for 12 months, productive. So that's your goal. 300, you know, we do the 25 days and wake up. The day you get out, you should 364 and wake up. All right? Because you just want to get to that 1 year mark. You get to that 1 year mark, it's so less likely for you to come back to ideals. So please make the investment in yourself. If you had told me 7 years ago I'd be standing before you, now I've been invited to hundreds of speaking engagements, a lot of them in prisons, county jails, etc. I've turned every single one of them down. I am just really allergic to jail. I really am. I've been here enough. I didn't even want to come as a guest. I did this one today because when Lori reached out to me, it was just a fluke. I had this great news story that was done on our college, and it went viral. It was shared over 250,000 times. It seen by millions of people. She saw it. She invited me based on that, and her invitation was so genuine that I had to accept it. This is what she said. She said, a lot of those guys remind me of you. A lot of them are as smart as you. A lot of them could do some of the same things that you're doing. A lot of them could achieve that. Maybe if they heard it from you, maybe they would, but a lot of my guys can do that. And of all the invitations I've received, no one's ever had faith in you. Everyone said, oh, you should show up, we'll give you $2,000 to speak, and you can tell them, you know, how they can do what you did, and take their money, you can go home. I've never been interested in making money off you because I was you. And I had a bunch of jokers come and give me the ass money. So I said, no, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna tell them my truth. It may not be the truth, but it's my truth, right? I'm gonna tell you my truth, and I'm gonna try to tell you the tools that you need to not be me 6 times, to be me the 7th time. And honestly, all you need is perseverance. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter where you do it. It doesn't matter where you live. Be ready to sacrifice. Be ready to be on food stamps. I was on food stamps. I had to go get a medical card because my son was a football player and broke his darn shoulder. And I'm like, Lord, I need some insurance. So I went and got the little Obamacare. I was just happy. I've never, you know how Chicago is. You have to public aid for about 9 hours. That's after you show up at 5 in the morning, right? But I needed that for my son, and I did it. All the things that I let myself go through, I'm like, damn, but this is the same guy who used to keep his pops in the toilet. All right, used to roll up toilet paper and burn a milk carton and heat up his coffee. Could cook beans in a hot pot. And I'm complaining about how this off and this is my freedom. So think about the things that you complain about. The worst day on the street is better than the best day in this prison. And that's what you have to remember. You have to remember that. So I don't want to hear how hard it is. You screwed up, that's just hard. You stole something, used drugs, hit somebody, whatever you did. Okay, you did it. I don't want to hear you didn't do it. You know we probably did, right? So that's not it. The it is, what are you going to do when you get out? All right? So just remember, number one, if you can mend those broken fences, mend them. Think about it real hard. Because I'm telling you, to this day, you know, every now and then I'll see somebody and be like, oh, Lord. I remember when I was 16, I broke in their house. You know what I mean? You know, a little juvenile delinquent. Like I said, God gave us the ability to forgive. But quit acting like you forgive. You know the people you screwed over. Mend those fences. Then once you mend the fences, don't be surprised that no one trusts you. Prove to them that you're able to be trusted. They're not asking you to prove it to them because you've been great. They're asking you to prove it to them because you haven't. And remember, they remember who you were when you left. They have no idea who you are when you come back. So just remember that. The next time when you hit those streets, they let you off on that bus at 95th and the Dan Ryan. I see it every single day. Brothers, some of them getting out in their blues, off that bus, with no ID and no money, trying to go to Salvation Army, which is ridiculous. But I don't care how hard that day is. It's never, even I don't remember commissary day. Is commissary day still a big day? That was my day. I get my snickery up, right? I don't care how happy I was at commissary day, even when I had an extra money order. I still think my best days are when I'm broke and have nothing at home. I smoke cigarettes, I used to. And, you know, Chicago cigarettes, $12 a pack. Yeah, wake up, $12, right? I mean, I can afford to buy a pack of cigarettes. And I'm walking everywhere. And when you're taking the bus, it takes you 2 hours to get everywhere. It takes you 2 hours to get back, right? So I'm doing all the things that I was too good to do. Then I thought about, shoot, I'd rather be on the CTA bus than be on that Bluebird, right? But I was on that Bluebird many a time with that piss bucket getting slushed back and forth on that chain. They still do that. No, I told somebody that story, they said I was lying. I'm like, dude, if you, oh, Lord, have mercy. That's the only. They still do it? Oh, Lord. But whenever I want to cut a corner, I think about that Bluebird, the orange, yellow jumpsuits, shackles. I walked from 89th and Ashland to Springfield in an orange prison jumpsuit with IDOC on the back of it. Y'all can imagine what those sheriffs in those counties was thinking. These people was going crazy. They literally thought I had escaped from prison. Several police officers stopped me and held me in custody until they could run. But you know, a brother's not going to walk down Route 66 in an orange jumpsuit with warrants. Are you out of your mind? I made sure I didn't have any warrants, right? But I didn't do that for fun. I did it to prove a point. And the point is that even though I'm Dr. Daniel Geiter and can call almost anyone I want and get a meeting, when I'm wearing that orange jumpsuit, who the hell do you think they see? They see N51137. And that's what will happen to you as you leave. I don't care what you do, they're going to see your number. I don't care what you say, they're going to see your number. All right? But this is what happened. It's real weird. By the time I got south of Chicago, so once you hit Braceyville and Braidwood, any of y'all from Southern Illinois, y'all know where Braceyville and Braidwood is. It's right south of Joliet. Those are the counties we had contacted, every county sheriff. Every single one of them would meet me at the line and say, dude, you might want to walk through our county real fast. It's not many of you around here, and at dark, you don't want to be stuck on women's back row. So, you know, I'm scared. I ain't gonna lie. You know, you can say what you want to say, but 300-pound African-American man in an orange prison jumpsuit, IDOC on the back of it, walking down Route 66 in a county that has 2 black people in it, Not a good idea. But do you know, once I hit these counties I thought that I was going to have to run through, people started coming out of the house. Now, the first time somebody came up to me and scared the hell out of me. Because, you know, I'm walking, I get on my Dr. Dre's, get on my headphones. Next thing you know, somebody touched me. I'm like, Lord, that person, right? To bring me water, to bring me chicken, to bring me money, to give me all kinds of stuff. I had grown folk, white people, crying to me, telling me their problems. I was a nurse and I got a domestic violence and now I can't get my license back. My son, you know, he was a heroin addict and he went to prison and this. I heard so many stories. Now when I left Chicago, my narrative was, these people are all the black people and I'm tired of it and this, that, and the other. And what I learned is once I got south of Chicago, that's not a black problem. They want white people up too. For the same reasons, right? So it's not about race, not necessarily. It's more about class and poverty. But my point is that each of you, I don't care what your race is, y'all all have the same damn problem. All right? You're not gonna get a job, and he's still not gonna get a job. And I don't care if you switch skin. All right? They care about the F behind your name and not the color of your skin. So just remember that. Make your own opportunity. I walked 195 miles. I got to Springfield, and I gave the director of the Illinois Board of Higher Education our application to open a college. Why? Because when I designed this project, no one wanted you on their campuses. I'm like, we already on your campuses. You just can't ask us. Oh, we don't want to have our degrees associated with that. So I said, okay, fine, we're going to open our own college. Now, when I said that a year ago, everyone thought I was crazy. Honestly, I was crazy because I had never seen it done, but I was mad and I was stubborn because my hypothesis, what I believe, is that each of you can do as good as I've done in school, and probably better if given the opportunity. And if given the opportunity, you change your life. I mean, I went from the ability to make, what, $9,200 a year? That is the average pay for an African-American male with a GED. $9,200. That's how much you should make. So if you only have a GED and you make $10,000, you're doing $800 a year better. Okay? It's statistically true. I went from that to triple-digit income. How do you go from $10,000 to over $100,000 education? And guess what? No one can take it back. It's mine forever. All right? Now, what's the likelihood statistically of someone offending after they get their bachelor's degree? And the only study that I've seen that studied that, they looked at over 140 guys who had been in prison in Delaware, had gotten bachelor's degrees, and been released. Guess how many of those individuals went back to prison? 0. Why? Because they had something to lose. Some of you don't have something to lose. Some of you don't. When I was in my 20s and I was in and out of jail, I didn't have kids. You know, I didn't have a house, didn't really have a good job. So, you know, every time I caught a bit, you know what, I'm losing my clothes. You know, when I come back out, I hit it again. Come back out, hit it again. Boy, as soon as I got a son, I was like, damn, I can't be locked up. You know, I need to be there for my son. What if this happens? What if this happens? What if my mother passes? What if this happens, right? So I am either age out or you're going to grow up. Which one are you? All right? So statistically, 8 out of 10 of you will be back. Only 2 out of every 10, so you count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every time you get to 10, just take 2 out of that number, and you say they're going to stay out, these other 8 are going to be back, and get this great job security to all these fine employees here at Grand Correctional Center. So some of you say you hate the officers, the best revenge is not coming back. All right? And they probably be right that you didn't come back. But there's definitely someone out there to replace you. Just don't let it be you. Just don't let it be your brother. I'll say this and I'll close. When I first went to IDOC, I was 18 years old. And back then, the RNC Classification Center was in Joliet. So, you know, Joliet was Joliet back then. And that was back in the 90s when IDOC was kind of raucous. You know, the inmates were in the asylum back then. So I was in cell 333 on, you know, you had 1 gallery, you had 3 galleries, one above each other. So I wasn't hooked up. I'm from Champaign. I don't know anybody. Luckily, my cellie was. He was a shot caller. So we had everything we needed in that cell. And I was a peon, so I was good, and I knew better not to keep my mouth shut. Hey, it is what it is. You come out the cell, be on the gallery, you know, on the doors, we graduated, had those crank doors, they grab the doors. You know, I'm big, 18, you know, 300 pounds, look like Baby Huey. I'm just standing there posted up at the cell looking at everybody, you know, probably thinking I'm having fun, you know. Hispanic young man goes by me, I say, hey, what's up, Paco? Stop. He gave me one of those prison looks like, what did I say? But I didn't say nothing, I said, oh. By lunchtime, on the door, they grab the door, and I go out the cell. Here comes some lights, and they look deep. I step back in the cell, because I'm going to get out of the way, right? So happened, my cellie was a shot caller. Stands at the door and said, no, y'all chill. I said, well, let's discuss this. Cellie, you stay up in here and shut this door. I'll be back. He thought I called him gay or fag or something. I don't know what it was. I said, Flacco, that didn't slim? I didn't know. I never said it again after that. All right? They were coming to throw me off 3 on the 1 gallon. From 3 to 1 gallon. Because I offended someone. Why in God's name would you set yourself up for that type of life? Let's think about it. Why would you set yourself up for that type of life? So the choice is yours. And I want you to understand that if you don't take anything out of what I say today, for a lot of years I was my own worst enemy. You know, it was my mother's fault. It was my father's fault because he wasn't good enough. You know, it was the man's fault. You know, it was that teacher who was mean to me fault. You know, it was the girl who wouldn't give it up fault. It was everybody's fault, right? It was never Dan's fault. But once it became my fault and I stood up for my actions, my life changed. So look at yourself in the mirror. Understand that if you think you're great, you're not nearly as great as you think you are. Try to remember the things that you really trained yourself to forget, because you weren't a nice person when you got locked up. And it's not like you need to be a nice person when you're released, but you definitely need to be a changed person. All right? So I hope that, you know, my words help some of you today. I think any of you and all of you can be whatever you want to be in your life. It's never too late. I know guys that I met who've been where you're at and they're lawyers today. In Illinois, you can be a convicted felon and be a lawyer. I've seen doctors. Now I see a college president. 60% of my students are former offenders. And to me, they all have the opportunities that I have. If they stay, if they persist, and if they do the most important thing. What's that? Show up. You cannot win the game if you don't join it. So quit talking about the game is rigged if you haven't started playing it. So it's up to you when you get out. It's going to be hard, it's going to be slow, it's going to be a lot of sacrifices, it's going to be uncomfortable, but I guarantee you, when I look back at my life now, and I look at the opportunities that I have now, and I look at the little sacrifice I had to go through to get it, I would have done it 15 years ago if I didn't. Don't wait till it's too late. Look, I make over $100,000 a year. Just think, 17 years, $1.7 million in salary I gave up when I was out here messing up. $1.7 million that I'll never get back. Because, so think about that. Think about what you want your life to be, and then make it happen. All right, thanks guys. Questions, just a few questions. I try to talk to everyone one-on-one. This is the thing I'm doing. Let me say this. I am leaving any of you that want, so I was going to bring business cards and flyers and all that. I didn't. This is the reason why I didn't. Half of you tell me you want help will never see me again because you will not contact me. And that's fine. I'm not offended. I'm busy. All right? About 10, maybe 20% of you will. So I did my count. So that means about 30 or 40 of you really will write me and will want help. If you live in the northern region of Illinois, and you write me a letter, and you tell me what your problem is and where you need help, I will match you with one community volunteer who doesn't get paid, but will help you and assist you. Not give you money, not pick you up, not not give you a place to stay, but will help you on one goal that you want to accomplish when you get out. All right? What these people do is phenomenal because they do it because they feel a call to do it. A lot of former offenders, some are parents of former offenders, you know, but they have a passion to work in this field. So if you want help, you live in the northern region, I'm sorry I cannot help you if you live south of Joliet. If you live in the northern region, I can hook you up with a volunteer that will help to mentor you as you return to society. It's going to be hard, there's going to be sacrifices, but someone who knows what you're going through will be in your court, but I'm not going to give you to someone that's not going to help you, and I don't want to give one of you no good ones to someone who's trying to help. All right? So if you want the help, right, my address is on the table. You can get my address also from Lori, but I need you to spend that, what'd you say, 15 cents per spend? Still get a station? We used to get 3. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Give us 3 every week. We used to gamble them away. All right. Right me, in the 58 cents, you still all get state bank, right? They get state bank too? Oh, okay. All right. It's a state bank. Right me, 58 cents is your investment, but it can change your life. All right? So write me, and don't just write me, hey, I need help when I get out. If you can't tell me what you want help with, I cannot help you. Because I can't send you to someone so that they can find out what you want. You got to know what they want, what you want, so I can figure out who can help you get there. All right? But when they write you back before you leave, whatever they ask you to do, you're going to have to do it. It's a step process. It's called building trust. All right? Lots of churches, organizations want to help individuals, but they're real selective because half y'all be on something else. All right? So they want to help the ones they know need the help and will receive it. So let's see how many of you write me and ask for specific help in an area, and we'll do as best that we can do, okay? Yeah, so if you live in the furthest south you can live is Joliet. That's the furthest south. Now, if you want to write me and you live south of Joliet, I'll do the best I can to match you with someone, but I don't have many connections south of Joliet. All right, so just, you know, if there's something specific though you can write me, if I can go on the computer and find someone and I'll look for a mentor or volunteer. For a lot of you who are religious, whether you're Islamic, Christian, Catholic, Jewish, a lot of your faith-based organizations will help you. Your second stop after school when you get out should be church. A lot of those organizations will help you, but just remember, you know, as we get mentors, and I see this all the time, some of y'all thirsty. You know, we have lives. You can't call them every 5 minutes and expect them to do everything for you. Take the help that people can give you. You'll be surprised how much they can give. All right? And then the worst thing that anyone can do, because this is the reason why I do it, because most of the people never show up. I just tell them, hey, write me, let me know. 9 times out of 10, they don't show up. They don't do it. Then I don't have to deny them, because they didn't even take the first step. All right? So remember, when someone asks you to do something, do what they ask you to do. It just may be a task. So my test is all 170 of you guys give me a request today that I'm going to try to do. Well, why would I set myself up for that when 80 of you really don't need my help anyway? I want to help the 80 that do. So if you need the help, write me. I guarantee you, if you live in Northern Illinois, I'll get you hooked up with one person. If I can't find somebody, I'll do it. But believe me, I'm going to find you someone. All right? So that's my challenge to you. I actually challenged a lot of our supporters earlier in the week. I wrote a blog, and I told individuals that I would be here, what I would be saying, and what I wanted to do, and I told them that I would do this. So I would like to do this, and I would like to connect you to others, but you have to make the first step. You have to follow whatever the guidelines are of the person that is helping you. All right? Nothing is free. If payment is you doing this, then do that. All right? Any other questions? All right, thanks, guys.